Because we don't have a lot of time, I'll make this quick. Imagine for a moment you've just been given a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. Now get this, you have less than a 15% chance of seeing next year. Even if your pancreatic cancer is surgically removed, there's a 70% chance you'll have a recurrence that's fatal. It's a devastating diagnosis, isn't it? Most pancreatic cancer patients are silenced before they have a chance to tell anyone about the need for more research, or before they're able to find treatment. Not Pat McLaughlin. After being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in January of 2012, he co-founded the Florida Pancreas Cancer Coalition. Pat made it his mission to raise awareness and local funds to support local research for the disease. Sadly, he succumbed to this highly lethal cancer in August of 2015. Today, his memory lives on as we continue to raise local money for local research.
In life, some of the best ideas start out really, really small. And I think you can attribute that to cancer research. He felt so passionately about local funding for local research. He thought that there were excellent medical centers all over Florida that were doing this research. And at a time when the National Institutes of Health were cutting their cancer funding across the board, and combined with the fact that the pancreas cancer gets such little funding, he thought that that was the hope. He thought that that was the right way, that contributing local funds to local research, there might be one of these small ideas that becomes a breakthrough and turns into something huge. Without the funding, that wouldn't be.
The new diagnosis of pancreas cancer can be devastating.
Dr. George is a clinical investigator focusing on gastrointestinal malignancies.
There is an overwhelming sense of nihilism in many communities or in textbooks and history related to pancreas cancer. It can be very overwhelming.
But you feel like you're begging for somebody. You're begging somebody to listen to you. Someone to believe that this disease is horrible and it doesn't get the attention that it needs. You know, over the summer and doing that in DC and reading the statistics, the American Cancer Society just came out with their new statistics for 2016, and right now pancreatic cancer is the third leading cause of all cancer deaths. You know, I just want to go to the highest mountain and scream and wave my hands and say, will anybody listen? Will anybody do what's necessary? Will anybody take a chance on me, small me?
Did you know researchers right here in our local community are seeking to unravel the mysteries behind the scourge of cancer that touches us all?
For Mayo's a big organization, and sometimes people think we're almost too big to help. We're not too big to help. We need help. We need help from people like you and from FLPCC. And the money that you all have raised has gone directly into our research teams to fund projects on early detection, understanding how pancreas cancer develops. And importantly, it's allowed us to do the smaller pilot studies that then lead to the big studies.
And we were able to present Mayo Clinic pancreatic cancer researchers with a $40,000 check, and we were able to talk to two major physicians and doctors that are so critical and important to the research. We got to see their lab, where they actually work, and ask them questions that will impact my life, changes that may inevitably increase my chances of survival.
Dr. Murray's laboratory is focused on determining the molecular structure of genes involved in the initiation and progression of cancer.
Well, as you know, pancreas cancer is a very difficult cancer to treat. It's very resistant to most chemotherapies. What we think will be an advantage is being able to learn more about how our protein allows the cancer to grow so that we can combine chemotherapies to more effectively kill the pancreas cancer that is so resistant to cancer therapy that we currently have available.
In my mind, I could foresee this is where the cure is going to be found. It was critical for me. It actually made me feel like there is hope.
And they did a CT scan of my chest, an MRI of my abdomen, and took blood tests. And the nurse practitioner came in after all that and said, "We can operate on you," which gave me hope, because when I was told I had pancreatic cancer by my gastroenterologist, I thought surely I was going to die, because my first cousin died in 4.5 months in 2001 from pancreatic cancer.
And it was a real shock to see Kenny in that condition.
Randall Marshall lost a son in the prime of his life to the disease.
And then Kenny passed away. It was actually the first day he was in hospice care, brought in a hospital bed, and we were all by his side, and we just knew that was his last day.
There's pretty tough individuals that have had pancreatic cancer, like Steve Jobs, Sally Ride, who is one of the astronauts.
We are not satisfied at all with the current status of how things are going. We are optimistic, though, very optimistic, that with appropriate resources, with appropriate collaboration, and with the expertise that we have assembled, that we will make the next breakthrough, that we will find the Achilles heel of the cancer. We will find the way in which a patient's own immune system can help to fight the cancer. We will find ways to find the cancer before it ever otherwise would be noted by the patient or by the primary care doctors.
There's an appropriate time to feel despair and sadness and regroup, but it's also very, I think, uplifting for people, even when going through those difficult situations, to know that you can turn something into a positive that for all the world looks like a negative. And I think what your group, FLPCC, Pat, and all the new very active members of FLPCC can do is turn that negative into a positive.
My quote is, "The time is now," and it's now or never. And we're on the verge of something great, and we just have to continue raising awareness.
And now you've turned this experience in your life into something where you can help other people.
Well, I have the latest statistic. 46,420 new cases of pancreas cancer will be expected this year, and of those, 40,000 people will die within 6 months. So 85% will perish within 6 months of diagnosis. The remaining 15%, 2/3 of those will die within 4 years. So I asked myself the question, why am I here? And I answered it simply by saying, maybe the good Lord left me here to speak for people who can't speak for themselves.
Pat McLaughlin's memory and mission most assuredly lives on as we continue to raise local money for local research for pancreas cancer.
Have a moment of silence.
There is no time to spare.
With the devastating nature of pancreas cancer, you've just seen why the most precious commodity of all is time. That's why we urge you to donate now. You can be sure 100% of your donation will be directed to our initiatives. Thank you.
The Florida Pancreas Cancer Coalition is an all-volunteer group raising local money for pancreatic cancer research right here in the state of Florida.